Hi, everyone. I'm Lauren Conlin, and welcome to Pop Crime TV and the Outlier Podcast. Before we get started, make sure you like and subscribe or join this channel. Today, we're going to throw it back a little bit. We're going to throw it back 4 years to 2020. I have never been great at video, clearly. This is a new thing for me, but I have a lot of good content and I'm going back through some of it. And this one was big for me. So I've done a few episodes of The Outlier, 2 episodes, I believe, about the actress Brittany Murphy. I loved Brittany Murphy, and I was so sad when she passed away. And I have always been fascinated by her perplexing death. And Brittany Murphy passed away in December of 2009. And then a few months later, her husband, Simon Monjack, also passed away. And I say mysteriously because their cause of death was ruled anemia, pneumonia. It was very, very strange. And I wanted to dig a bit further. So in 2020, I had reached out to Simon Monjack's mother, Brittany's mother-in-law, Linda Monjack, and she was so kind and she was very happy to speak with me. And unfortunately, I can't find the video. I had a different computer and it was saved somewhere else, but I do have the audio and I wanted to play it because it's pretty crazy, and the fact that this didn't really get picked up anywhere is crazy as well. So again, I'm gonna play the audio. I'll put just a little icon image while I play it, and you will hear a lot of stuff. I mean, the biggest thing for me, there's a lot of big things, but a huge thing for me was that they were terrified of something or someone. And Brittany was sober. You can go and listen to an episode I did of The Outlier with one of her friends. I believe it was December of 2023. And she says, yeah, she was sober. So I guess I was a little confused because usually you're paranoid about something if you're on drugs or maybe you're taking a lot of THC. I mean, maybe they were California sober and we just don't know. Also, the relationship between Sharon Murphy, Brittany's mother, with Simon and Brittany seemed to be a little odd. Linda Monjack seems like she's not a huge fan of Sharon. I don't know what to think about that. I feel for Sharon Murphy. It seems like she was very close with her daughter, but also I keep thinking about the fact that Sharon also neglected her daughter in the sense that she didn't get her the help that she needed physically. Brittany was sick. She was not feeling great. This pneumonia, it didn't come about quickly. She had been battling it for a while. And I also did an interview with Dr. Cyril Wecht about Brittany and Simon. And I do believe I have that video. So I'm going to dig that up as well. But guys, again, it's really weird. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear what you think in the comments. So I'm going to play this interview, and it was 4 years ago. So don't judge me with some of my filler words. And it's not about me, whatever. It's not about me. But anyway, okay, here's the interview. Leave me your thoughts. Could you just state your relationship with Brittany Murphy?
Yeah, Brittany Murphy was my daughter-in-law, and I met her once, but we had a Skype relationship. So similar to what we're doing now. I would talk to her every week. And she was a fantastic person. She had full of energy and fun, but she was terrified of dying. It was the one thing that she was always said, I'm going to die young. And it was something that she almost knew. And we would discuss that. And I would say to her, because I'm quite spiritual, but I didn't pick that up. But I did say to her, it is what it is. I'm sure you'll be fine. The sort of things that you would say. But it was a very, very strange and weird way that she died.
Yeah, right. And you're a hypnotherapist by trade. That's your job. What is that exactly?
No, I have had 2 careers. I was an artist. I was a designer I went to St. Martin's and was a designer in London and was a designer for 30 years. And then I thought, this is too vacuous. I can't cope with it. So I retrained. But my husband,
Yeah.
Simon's father, died of a brain tumor. So he was ill from 29 to 36. So I did another degree. So I've actually took
Oh,
my chances
wow.
then. So then I went back to my second degree. So
Wow.
and I've been,
Linda, you were like a pillar of strength here, not to be corny, but dear
well,
Lord.
life is for the living, Lauren. Life is for the living, and
Yeah.
no one should ever forget that.
Mhm.
And to you'll get your chance. I personally think I'll get my chance with my son again, but while I'm on this life, I have another son. I have children, grandchildren. I've got to,
Yeah.
I've got to be, you know.
Yeah. You have to be present where you are. And I believe in that too. So I'm very confident that you will get another chance with your son. I firmly believe that.
I've got a few things to say to him as well.
I'm sure as a mother, you're like, all right, yes. Well, so this is also what I want to discuss because I, again, I'm not an investigative journalist and I know you seem very nice, but again, you seem realistic. D- I don't understand Sharon Murphy, and I there's so many unanswered questions that I have that you probably can't answer. Nobody can answer, right? I mean, the only people that could probably answer are not with us anymore. However, Brittany, after she died, her father got her hair tested, right, in 2013, and it came back with traces of heavy metal, which can sometimes mean rat poison, right? Now, when Simon passed away of the exact same thing that Brittany did, pneumonia, anemia, did you not have you didn't want to get his hair tested? You didn't even
I
think,
did. I didn't even think about it. Not at that time. I didn't
okay,
know if all this was going on. I thought that it was the mold in the house because they had terrible mold on the windows, and mold that isn't treated lets off spores, and those spores can give you Legionnaire's disease.
yeah,
So we were convinced that he and Brittany both died of Legionnaire's disease, and the
right,
medical situation there was the coroner is not I don't quite know how it all works in America, but it
hmm,
wasn't very helpful. Not really. I mean, not saying the
right,
guy wasn't helpful, but the actual system didn't allow for it, and the police did nothing. And yet, you would have thought
yeah,
that if young people, died
yeah.
between in 5 months, that alone to me would say it needed investigating.
Right. And here's the biggest question is Sharon Murphy was the oldest of anybody and she lived in the same exact house, but she's totally fine. That's where I was like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Well, there is a sense in that
Oh,
if the poor thing, if the spores from
mhm.
because they lived in that room, there wasn't any mold anywhere else
It was only that room.
in that room.
But okay, but then after the fact, Sharon Murphy moved into that room. I mean, that was another thing where you were like, I cannot explain that. My son loves beautiful women. He's not gonna go and sleep with her mom. But she was in that room for 5 or 6 months, and then even more so after the fact. So that is where I'm like, and there was something I pulled up, right? I pulled it up. There was Dr. Cyril Wecht. He had said, based on the hair test in 2013, what that had uncovered, that her father had said, let's get this tested, what they uncovered, he said he would have reopened the case based on that, but nobody did. And this is my question.
But why didn't they?
I don't know.
There is a huge cover up somewhere, and I
Yeah.
don't know why. You see, I could understand Sharon killing Simon
Yeah.
because Simon took sorry if I'm confused.
No, it's fine.
Simon took Brittany away from,
Hmm.
and they, she was. Do you understand codependency?
Yes.
Well, Sharon and Brittany were codependent.
Yeah. Right.
Okay,
And her relationships, Brittany's never really worked out. Right. I mean, before
and
Simon, she'd never been married.
no, and the thing is, codependency, if you understand it, is it's very toxic.
Mm.
And so therefore, if you have a codependent relationship, then the fact of losing somebody can
Mm-hmm.
be too much for you to bear. So you could actually do something. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying she did. I absolutely
No.
do know.
Yeah. No.
I'm just
Sure.
speaking from codependency.
Mm-hmm.
So you have that situation where you could imagine her hating Simon so much that he was taking her away from a daughter who she had controlled. And
Mm-hmm.
Simon was definitely taking control away from Sharon. He was stopping her, Brittany, doing things and making her do other things. Well, not making, but
Yeah.
suggesting that she did other things. And it was definitely loosening the hold that she had. Perhaps she couldn't take it. I have no idea.
Right. Right. And it was troubling also on the 911 call when she called about Simon. And again, I'm sorry. I'm sure it's sensitive, so I do apologize. But she just said, "Baby, baby." She was calling him baby, and I found that to be.
Everybody, baby.
Oh, she did. Okay, so then you can clear that up because I was like, I
Wait,
called. Okay. 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 So that's clear for me because I was like, why is nobody talking about that? Her being like, baby, 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 wake up. And I'm like, that's weird. Why? Like, that's what you call someone you're in like a relationship with. But so I guess my question really for you was just why did you not fight to get his hair tested? And I guess you are telling me that at the time you did not think anything sinister had happened. You genuinely did not. And that is why.
I think my mind, I'm British.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in the scene of Hollywood or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost too phantasmagorical for me to grasp that things like that could happen. That sounds very naive, I know, but I didn't. I only thought of that. The only indication I had that things were really not right
Mm-hmm.
was Sharon totally sabotaged the funeral, totally, of Simon. I
Oh.
didn't go to Brittany's. I didn't go. I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
there, but with Simon's because they were terrified I was going to. Awful. They did awful things, really awful things. When I think about it, the week I was there, because she phoned me at 7 o'clock in the morning. I was on a plane by midday
Mm-hmm.
to go there, and when I got there, she was having some sort of physiotherapy or something upstairs. I mean, she was carrying on her life as if, you wouldn't. And she had full makeup on. She had full
No.
makeup on, and she just had physiotherapy. And I thought,
Oh
this is
my
this is
gosh.
really weird. I mean, her daughter died 5 months ago. Her son-in-law just died.
Yeah.
His parents were coming,
Yeah.
and she had no greeting of us. Her friend greeted us, and
Oh
anyway, so
gosh.
that was. And she said, "Where are you staying?" I said, "I'm staying here."
Yeah.
So she was just staying here. I said, "Well, this is my son's house. I'm staying
Yeah.
here."
Yeah. Right. And she was like, oh, well, okay.
Okay, then. Yeah, that
Oh
was weird.
gosh.
Then the next thing that was weird was I found the whole thing weird, to be honest, really weird.
Of
And
course.
I mean, there's so many things I could tell you, but it's only a limited time.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that is because I'm spiritual
Mm-hmm.
and I am um, a bit of a medium, I am,
Yeah.
able to. I wanted to be with his spirit in the room on my own because it was very important for me to sit where his body had been, because his
Mm-hmm.
body had gone, and just see that he had gone on, that his spirit wasn't lingering anywhere, that he had
Okay.
gone. And they would not allow me to be in the room on my own with him. They insisted on a security guard coming in. And I said, look, you can search me before I go in. You can search me when I come out.
You mean, I'm sorry, the
The room that Simon died in, the
the
room,
bedroom. But who's they?
bedroom.
Brittany's mother, Sharon Murphy?
Yes, she put insure. She actually stopped me from actually being with my son Spirit, and I had to have a security guard. And I said, please leave, and he would not.
It's just
And
a bedroom. I'm so confused by this.
yes, in case I took anything, I think. I don't know.
What the hell was in the bedroom that you were going to take exactly in her mind?
Simon was an Andy Warhol specialist. He understood and co-wrote the film.
Yeah. Oh, Factory Girl.
Yeah,
Yes.
and so he had some Andy Warhols, and she said, "Oh, Simon gave them to Brittany. They're Brittany's. So I got absolutely nothing, not a thing.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
and anyway, so she didn't want me. Anyway, so that happened, and
Oh,
then,
I'm so sorry, Linda.
well, don't worry about it. It's done and gone, and I'm moved on light years from that. But
Right, right.
the one thing, that the funeral was a nightmare, because she stopped, the guy who was the financial advisor stopped
Mhm.
all his friends coming. There was only a handful of people. They were all stopped at the gate. They weren't allowed in, and she had armed guards on the funeral door, and the car that we had was the armored car, and I said to my other son, who had flown in, I said, I'm not
Yeah.
going in that. And he said, no, I'll drive you in Simon's Jeep. So
Yeah.
we went separately, and they had machine gun men on the door.
That's so weird. What is the point of that?
Well, I think that they were all terrified of something. All three of them were terrified of something. I don't know
Who's
what.
all three of them?
Brittany, Simon, and
And
Sharon.
Sharon. You think oh wow.
Well, either they were all terrified of something, but something was not right.
Yes, 100% something is not right. And I guess you believe something was covered up. I mean, right? This
Well, I can't. It's a difficult thing to say. I think something's covered up. I think possibly saying I don't think everything added up made is more sense.
things don't add up.
Yes.
Right. Yes, things
I,
don't add up.
yes, I can't say that there was any conspiracy. I can't say that things were wrong. All I can say, for me personally,
Mhm.
things did not add up.
Right. That's that and that's exactly for me too. Like I said, every documentary that you watch on this, they say conflicting statements, which really bother me. I watched another one the other day, and they had said, "Oh, Simon and Brittany, they were suffering from pneumonia, and they were really into like holistic medicine, so they just didn't." Go to the doctor. They didn't. Well, if that's the case, and why do they have all those prescription medications? You know what I'm saying? If you're holistic, you're either holistic or you're not, right? So why would you have prescription drugs if you're so I'm just like that didn't really make sense to me. And then again, just the whole thing where, you know, it's like Britney's hair was in the process of being tested and they found this metal and then, a judge was like, no, that's a ridiculous claim. And Sharon Murphy said that's ridiculous. And Sharon Murphy also said it was ridiculous about the molds until it came time to sell the house. And then when it was time to sell the house, she was like, oh, I'm suing these contractors and these people because there is mold after all. So it's going to lessen the value of the house, So I don't know. I was just like, this doesn't.
She was very well aware of the problem with the house, and
Yes.
she was told by Simon on several occasions, and I know that. So
Mhm.
that is absolute a lie. So she doesn't see the truth like you or I.
Yes, right. And I think it's interesting that you brought up you're not naive clearly, but you just could not fathom at the time that there would be some sort of foul play. And at this point, almost 11 years later, are you kind of just like, it is what it is. I'm not going to dig further into it because I've moved on.
I went through $30,000 in trying to get some of Simon's things and trying to get something, because she said he had nothing. So he had absolutely nothing, nothing at all.
That's what she said,
Whole life.
Sharon. Oh
Yeah,
God.
till 48, he had nothing.
Oh my God.
So the thing is, and I didn't have the money to fight anymore. But I
Yeah.
mean, she's even got his father's Omega watch, his
Oh
Seamaster
God.
watch. And if he had nothing else, he had that. And
Yeah.
that should go to his brother. It certainly shouldn't be.
In
Uh,
Sharon Murphy's,
yeah,
hands. Exactly. So when's the last time you saw her? The funeral?
yes.
Wow. So it's been 11 years. Has she ever reached out to you or never? Not even just as like grieving parents or just nothing. Have you ever tried to reach out to her?
I don't like her. I think
Right.
she's sycophantic. I think she's completely in a fantasy world. I think she lives her life through her daughter, and
Yeah.
had all the gains of her daughter's wealth, and did nothing other than create mayhem and
Right.
upset. And
Right.
actually got Brittany to be fearful without her. So I don't think she's a sort of person that I want to be in touch with, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I mean, especially just because so many things don't add up. And that's, yeah, go ahead.
The 3 months before Simon died, I was speaking to him weekly, if not more, probably
Mhm.
more actually. And the deterioration in his physical being was absolutely terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. He went from being normal size to bloated, like he'd been pumped up with a bicycle pump. His
Yeah,
face was this side. He sort of got hunched up like this.
yeah,
And I kept saying, "What's the matter with you? Go to the doctor. There's something wrong with you."
yeah.
Either the medicine he was taking, or he was being poisoned, or something was happening. Now that poison he could have been doing it without realizing it. I realized it might not be somebody, I don't know.
You
But
don't
it
know.
looked
Yeah.
to me, his hair
Hmm.
was wild, everything was mad. And
Mm.
I cannot believe that 911 call where Simon had a phone,
Hmm.
and he called her for help. And she,
Sharon. Yeah.
yes, and this is on the phone. It was on the phone, but messages don't stay; they
No.
get wiped. So
Hmm.
the thing is, it only stayed for about a month, and that clearly stated, "Help me, Sharon, help me," and she didn't.
I don't understand though. He texted her and she just didn't come.
Yeah,
Oh
and
gosh.
she said she was asleep.
And if it was at the time, I'm thinking 2009, was it like a BlackBerry or an iPhone or was it?
Yeah, it would have been. I don't know what it was. I think it wasn't a black. I don't think it was an iPhone.
Okay, because I think you're right. I think the BlackBerry messages, if I'm not mistaken,
I
did
think it's
disappear.
a BlackBerry. I think
Right, right. Oh gosh. And she said she was sleeping.
she wasn't sleeping.
Oh my
She wasn't
gosh.
sleeping. So
Yeah.
who knows, Lauren? Who knows? But I think that I've often thought that I'd write a screenplay or write a book about my son's life and
Linda, I think
have,
you should. I think it's so important. I really don't think that you should give this up because I think they need justice. I think something like I said, I think
but everything in America costs a fortune, Lauren.
no, you're so right. No, you're so
You
right.
can't do anything unless you have thousands, millions of pounds, and then you can do whatever you want. But you
Yeah.
just can't. It's your hands are tied behind your back.
Okay. So I was a little shook when Linda said that Simon texted Sharon Murphy to help him and she did nothing. I mean, maybe she really was sleeping. Who knows? But I think in the end, we can all agree that things